friends, welcome to chapter 4 of Exodus. We are on day 3 of our second week in the Exodus study. And I just want to begin today by saying, look, if we are short on time for studying God's Word, and I know a lot of us are, all we really need to do is ask that golden question. What does this passage say about who God is? We learn a lot about God from this passage. God is the Lord. He is the I am who I am. That's a continuation from yesterday. We see all of these capitalized Lords in our passage today. I am who I am. We see that God is merciful and gracious and slow to anger. Did you notice Moses has 3 objections for God? Now, these aren't impolite objections until the last one seems to cross a line. But Moses is, and I'm going to give Moses kudos here. Moses is being open and honest with the Lord about his concerns and about his needs. He knows here at the beginning, he knows, look, behold, they will not believe me or listen to me, for they will say, the Lord did not appear to you. He's got a valid point here. And he openly and honestly brings this before the Lord. And what do we learn about who God is? God is gracious and merciful. He's like, here you go, Moses. 3 signs. 3 signs. And if we look close at those signs, we will see these are miraculous. Like, a lot of us are familiar with the Bible, and we might even know that, oh yeah, Moses is his staff. It can turn into a snake, and it can also eat up all the other snakes that are presented to it. We need to stop and recognize that this is miraculous. This is a sign. This staff of Moses becomes a symbol of God and his power. And that, yes, God has indeed appeared to Moses. Same for the leprous hand, the second sign. No one could heal leprosy. No one. The Israelites would have never seen this before. Actually, have any of us seen these signs before? Staff thrown on the ground becomes a snake, pick it up becomes a staff. No. A healthy hand tucked in becomes a leprous hand, tucked back in becomes a healthy hand. No, I've never seen that, and none of us have seen that. Nor have we seen water from the Nile be poured out and turned into blood. All right, well, we can put on our ancient Near East Israelite classes to better understand these signs and dig into them a little bit, such as we need to recognize where we are. We're in Egypt, and we need to recognize the importance of the Nile River. It was the water source for Egypt, meaning this was life or death. The Nile represents life and death for the Egyptians. And even, I mean, the Israelites are living here. So for them too, this is their source of life. And the Nile was worshipped as a god. It was closely related to many of the Egyptian gods. So the Nile points to life. Anyway, we could dig into each of these signs, the staff, the leprosy, the Nile. But the point is, what is the point of the signs? Why does God give Moses these signs? Well, 1, he is responding graciously. But the purpose is, verse 5, that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. He answers Moses's prayer. He answers his concern. He provides for his need. He answers with such mercy and grace. And that's where I land for today. God, he is merciful and gracious and slow to anger. What do we learn about God? That right there. We see it again in verse 10. But Moses said to the Lord, "Oh, my Lord, I am not eloquent either in the past or since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and of tongue. Friends, this doesn't necessarily mean that Moses has a speech impediment of any kind. I think this is more of Moses saying, look, Lord, I'm not eloquent. I just don't know what to say. Because we don't have evidence that Moses has any kind of speech impediment now or in the earlier chapters of Exodus, or in the rest of Exodus, or really anywhere in the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible written by Moses. He seems to be able to communicate very well. So here is Moses with just another objection. In some ways, if we put on our ancient Near East glasses, we could chalk this up to just being polite. In the ancient Near East, when one received an invitation, it was honorable, it was respectful to decline it, to politely decline it. Oh, no, I can't receive that. I can't accept that. And there's kind of this back and forth tug of war until one humbly receives whatever gift they're being offered. But I also think that here in the second objection, Moses is expressing a need. We see this in one of the cross references, Exodus 6, verse 12. But Moses said to the Lord, behold, the people of Israel have not listened to me. How then shall Pharaoh listen to me? For I am of uncircumcised lips. And so there is a piece of me that almost wonders, is Moses saying, look, Lord, I don't have your words. I don't have your mouth. I am not eloquent of speech. And how does God respond? Again, with such grace, with such mercy. And he just reminds Moses of who he is. I am the creator of the mouth. I created your mouth, Moses, and every other mouth, and I will enable you. I will be with you, and I will teach you what to say. Don't worry about your mouth. He reminds Moses of who he is, that he is creator, that he is with him, that he is the Lord. I am who I am. No need to worry. No need to worry. Now, I love it, friends, that Moses is able to be open and honest with God about his concerns. And I definitely love seeing how God so graciously and mercifully responds to Moses. I hope that brings comfort to your heart like it does mine. Now, this third objection that we see in verse 13, oh my Lord, please send someone else. And then we see God's anger being kindled. And that is anger. I put that in my keyword column and looked it up. It is anger, kind of points to being hot in the nose, which is sort of a funny visual. Why? Why is God's anger kindled? Well, I think, this is no longer polite. This is turning down the invitation to be on mission with God. This is almost a refusal this really is a refusal of God's invitation. And what is it saying about Moses and his heart and what's going on inside of Moses? Friends, I think it points to Moses's fear and shows Moses' doubt and his lack of trust in God. All right, and some of us might step back and say, oh no, today I'm feeling afraid. Today I have doubts. Today I'm wondering, in the midst of these circumstances, can I trust you, God? Does that mean God is angry with me? Friends, we see Moses crosses a line with God here. And God's anger is kindled. But let's look at what we learn about God and how he responds. God responds again with grace and mercy. Even before Moses expresses his neediness to God, even before Moses expresses his fear, his doubt to God. God was already providing Moses with a companion. Aaron was on his way to find Moses and to meet Moses. I mean, how endearing is this? How gracious and merciful is this God, the I am who I am? He was already providing for Moses' fears, Moses' doubts, Moses' questions, Moses' lack of trust. And he says in verse 15, look, you shall speak to Aaron and put the words in his mouth. Look, Moses, I have put my words in your mouth. Now you're going to speak them to Aaron's mouth. And look, I will be with your mouth and I will be with his mouth, and I will teach you both what to do. Here's yet another reminder of Moses. Moses, I will be with you. I will be with your mouth. I am who I am. I speak mouths into existence. I will be with you. You can trust me. When circumstances don't make sense, friends, and they clearly are not making sense to Moses right now. He's wondering, why in the world would the Lord, the God of my father and the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, send me? Why in the world this does not make sense to me? What do we learn? We can trust God. That's what God is saying. What do we learn about who God is? Oh, he is trustworthy. When he speaks, it is so. He is the I am who I am. And friends, he is a God who is gracious and merciful. And we see him being very slow to anger here with Moses. So patient. And a God who provides exactly what Moses needs for his fear and his doubts and his concerns. Oh, friends, let's turn to him with open and honest hearts, just as Moses does, that we might receive his mercy, find his grace for today in the midst of whatever circumstances we are facing.